Scientific researchers in the country recognized for groundbreaking works. The annual convocation of personnel of the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation opens in Yaoundé with Minister Madeleine Chuente chairing. Our newsroom dossier tonight herbs on the economic future of the Douala-Bangui-N'Djamena corridor with recent investments recorded. Government sounds a note of warning as 2 cases of type 2 polio virus are detected in Chinga in the nation's capital in Yaoundé. In this newscast, we get the measures taken. And those are top stories. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. With me, Gladys Tata.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Welcome back. Elizabeth Tamajong, doctor in sociology and anthropology, has been crowned Eminent Researcher of the Year for her research findings aimed at boosting education of the girl child in Cameroon. Just like her, hundreds of researchers in Cameroon have moved to higher ranks during the annual convocation ceremony of the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation. The 8th edition was chaired by Minister Madeleine Chuente, as we hear in the following report with Emanuela Vemnier.
For the 8th time, they have come, clad in what distinguishes them from other corps, to set the research year in motion on the one hand and make research results known on the other hand. The scientific convocation ceremony has given researchers in Cameroon in their diverse domains time to ponder on how to surmount the challenges of emerging and re-emerging diseases using endogenous responses and make prospects. The inaugural lesson of Professor Jean Legard Petit would indicate that Cameroon has got 8,500 research specialties from which she can rely on to solve problems. Elizabeth Tamajong is then singled out as Eminent Researcher of the Year. The doctor in sociology and anthropology is being honored for her research works to boost the education of the girl child in the country.
Hard work, honesty, humility, and inclusive leadership, because I'm a leader who believes in pulling up somebody. If I pass somewhere and they don't find somebody growing, then I fail. On
her heels are more than 1,000 researchers promoted to higher grades.
I'm very honored to be the very first lady director of research at the IRAD Institute to pursue the research career, who is strongly led by men. It is not easy for us women.
A qualified human resource, the Minister of Scientific Research, Madeleine Chuente, has placed government support to ease their work.
Researchers in traditional medicine were also at the center of this Research Excellence Days. Their contributions in finding the magic potion for COVID-19 is being recognized by the government, which put up some of their products for licensing. Beatrice Losamba props into the drugs that were so short-lived and still have to undergo approval before being sent to the marketplace. Beatrice?
Manufacturers of local remedies eye the privileged position of foreign drugs and are aiming for a health license from government to reach the marketplace and sell their natural health products. Once licensed, they can claim it is approved and safe and effective.
The products that the Minister of Scientific Research, Madeleine Chuente, shortlisted was medicine for COVID-19, medicine for hepatitis, medicine for HIV.
Most of the drugs up for licensing are proposed COVID-19 portions, and given that government recognizes the role local pharmacopoeia played in managing the disease, the popular over-the-counter remedies were selected. But pharmaceutical drugs require years of clinical research before they are approved for sale.
The Ministry of Scientific Research will take charge for all the various tests so as to have an authorization to put the products in the market so that they can produce, open a laboratory in Cameroon here where they can produce all these products so that they can become very cheap for the Cameroonians.
The government is looking forward to finding local drug makers so as to cut down on the 100 billion CFA francs spent yearly to import drugs. There is hope in these promising researchers.
As you heard in this lead story, the socio-political crisis in the Central African Republic, coupled with the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, have drastically slowed down economic activities along the Douala-N'Djamena and Douala-Bangui corridors. Ewane Pole in the following write-up evaluates the economic losses incurred as a result of the crisis.
Security and health crisis along the Douala-Bangui and Douala-N'Djamena corridors in recent months has dealt a heavy blow to trade between Cameroon, Central African Republic and Chad. Mainly supplied by the port of Douala, 1 million tons of goods worth 55 billion CFA francs transit every year via the Douala-Bangui corridor. Socio-political crisis in RCA has affected transporters' business turnover as they are already recording a loss of 3 billion CFA francs monthly. This is because 1,000 trucks and 2,000 drivers are still stranded at the border town of Garoua-Boulay.
Mobilizing trucks for a number of months is costly because we employ drivers to transport our goods.
Every day we kill a cow, we boil fish and others.
The governments of Cameroon, Central African Republic and Chad have, however, taken measures to reinforce security along the corridors. Meanwhile, the adverse effects of the coronavirus has also caused trade flows on the corridors to drop by 40%.
Well, we shall be talking on the business hurdles on the Douala-N'Djamena-Bangui corridors with Crise Are Takang.
Controls and checkpoints, and at each stop, money more often than not changes hands. It is the biggest complaint of transporters plying the Douala-Bangui and Douala-N'Djamena corridors. Officially, there are 5 altogether from Yassa in the littoral and from Bonis in the east region. They are made up of a mixed team of police, gendarmerie and customs officers who ensure that car and merchandise have the necessary transit authorizations. However, transporters continue to decry the economic losses they have been experiencing as they spend more than bargained for. On another front, wranglings over customs activities have also been a point of discontent, with transporters arguing that they are oftentimes compelled to pay duties for goods which have already been cleared. An international safe passage document should do, but they regret that this piece of paperwork is usually disregarded. Added to this is a not always reliable internet connection. The global positioning system is another bone of contention. It does not only serve to determine the location of trucks, but of their cargo too. Foreign nationals conveying merchandise across the borders say it is expensive. Absence on many transport vehicles means they cannot move for days, making revenue loss inevitable. Time delays, accusations of corruption, and administrative bottlenecks, issues to be dealt with to make the Douala-Bangui, Douala-N'Djamena corridors smooth for business.
The government of Cameroon and partners envisage a boom in economic activities across the borders of Chad and Cameroon with the imminent construction of a railway line linking Gaoundéré to N'Djamena in Chad. This follows the signing out of the sum of 1.6 billion CFA francs provided by the African Development Bank to sponsor the feasibility studies of the project. Here is Mukwele Prince Wiladuma with the projection of the economic benefits.
Way beyond the reinforcement of bilateral ties between Chad and Cameroon, the N'Djamena-Gaoundéré railway line will expectedly change the business paradigm. In concrete terms, it is the easier transit of goods from Cameroon's Douala port with accompanied returns to the country.
How is it going to impact our economy? It will certainly reduce the cost. It will protect our environment because it's not going to affect climate. It's going to certainly increase the size, the volume of our exchanges. And this is the main ultimate goal we are looking for.
Undoubtedly, the project sounds as relief to the populations of the northern regions whose perishables and time, for example, will be safeguarded.
We'll be trading together and we will diversify our economy. We'll be able to get more resilient economies, which is needed for our different countries.
Development of roads, telecoms and railway infrastructures, experts say, further integration in the sub-region promoted by leaders of the two countries.
And in a later development, Cameroon and Algeria have signed a bilateral trade agreement which will improve air transport services between the two countries. The accord was signed today in Yaoundé between the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Masséna Bibehe, and the Algerian ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Mezak Bejao. Gerald Nanji reports that the agreement will facilitate trade between the two countries through direct links. Gerald?
Appending their signatures, Cameroon's Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Masséna and Algerian Ambassador to Cameroon, Mezak Bejawi, agreed on behalf of their respective countries to strengthen and consolidate ties in the air transport services.
We have chosen Cameroon because of its strategic position in Central Africa. The Douala and Yaoundé airports will serve as departure point to other parts of Africa. We will also assist Cameco technically in training and maintenance.
According to the transport boss, the agreement will, among other things, promote the development of tourist activities and, above all, intensify trade between the two countries. This agreement comes to update that of 1974, which, due to modernization of the civil aviation industry, had become obsolete.
Contractors working on road projects in the three northern regions of the country have been exhorted to unite efforts and stamp out the problem of lack of gravel on construction sites. This is one of the main recommendations of the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ngano Jumesi, at the end of a three-day review of road infrastructural projects in Cameroon. As Emmanuel Ivemue reports, the 2021 balance sheet was equally drawn up.
The evaluation of 8 road construction projects found in the 3 northern regions of Cameroon brought to an end the 3-day review of infrastructural projects under the supervision of the Ministry of Public Works. Amongst them, the Marwa-Mora axis and the Mora-Dabanga-Kuseri road. Time, therefore, to draw up the 2021 balance sheet.
The aim of the exercise was to mobilize the companies, the construction company, and those controlling the work, to really understand that they have to work hand in hand in order to deliver. In any case, we have some cases in which we are not satisfied, but our main concern is to continue to accompany those companies or those control missions to exercise their duties.
49 road projects came under review in 3 days. The ministers announced field visits in the days ahead to ascertain the effective implementation of the prescriptions made during the review.
The Permanent Secretariat of the Task Force on Money Laundering in Central Africa, GABAC, is expected to carry out an on-site visit to Cameroon as part of the mutual evaluation of the system and financing of tourism. This information was made public during an audience granted by the Minister of Finance to a GABAC delegation. Gerald Nanji Yambe has more.
The Task Force on Money Laundering in Central Africa, GABAC, led by its permanent secretary, is in Cameroon to present to the government the objective of its mission, which is in accordance with the regulations on the mutual procedures for evaluation. The Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Motaze, has reaffirmed his government's commitment not only to support the task force in achieving its objectives, but equally reiterated Cameroon's determination to lead a merciless fight against money laundering and financing of terrorism in Cameroon and Central Africa due to the pivotal role she plays in the CEMAC zone. Both parties identified some actions undertaken in Cameroon, and plans to finalize the national risk assessment were equally reviewed.
We take you to the northwest region where the Bafut Divisional Office that was burnt down by separatist fighters has been rehabilitated and handed to the Minister of Territorial Administration. The Rapid Intervention Battalion B took the bully by the horns to refurbish the building after local contractors feared to show up for the rehabilitation tender for fear of the unknown. The B innovated the building and added watchtowers to enable security officials identify individuals as far as 1 kilometer. Minister Tanganji has congratulated the military for its professionalism, as you tell us, Constantine Baum, who is trailing the minister to the northwest region.
The divisional officer of Bafut Sub-Division can once more work in a conducive office following rehabilitation works carried out by the Rapid Intervention Battalion after the office was burned down by separatist fighters. This visit of the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Athanganji, is to receive the structure that once more implants the authority of the state in the subdivision.
It's a very good partnership between the military and the civilian authority. We will now equip the office so that the Joe can take back his premises and do his job. But I think that we are right here in Bafut, which was one of the hotspots of the terrorists. From all the assessments and the reports given by the governor of the region, I can see that things are coming back to normalcy.
The tense atmosphere in Bafut is fading out and the population is gradually returning, with the defense forces ever ready to protect the population and their property.
Bafut is over 75% fine now compared to when I took over. I'm going on with a serious sensitization to the population, asking them to return and asking the terrorists, who of course are our brothers and sisters, to lay down their arms and benefit of the amnesty of President Biya.
The rehabilitation works by the military comes to strengthen the civilian-military relationship as they work together for peace and development of the region. The Rapid Intervention Battalion have also rehabilitated other divisional offices in Dukomebalwe and in Wabane.
Over in the North region, 16 milk-producing organizations from the Center, Adamawa and Far North regions have received 164 heifers imported from France within the framework to boost milk production in Cameroon. The ceremony to hand over the Mont Belair heifers took place in Lugere, North region, and was presided over by the Minister of Livestock, Dr. Taiga. Tony Inanyongo reports from Crtv, Garoua.
Despite a 7% increase in milk production since 2014, Cameroon still records about 120,000 tons of production deficit every year, according to official statistics. The 164 cows for the production of milk distributed to the producer organizations falls within actions to reduce the production deficit. The dairy cows, whose production is estimated at 30 to 40 liters of milk each per day, acquired recently under the Livestock Development Project (SPODEL) and financed by the World Bank, landed in Garoua last October 2020 and were kept at the Lugere station for acclimatization.
It's very important to connect producers to the industries downstream, so they can also serve not only local markets, but regional market and beside global market.
During the ceremony at the Lugere station, the Minister of Livestock, Dr. Taiga, underlined government's determination to modernize livestock production and also called for more investments in the sector by stakeholders. The 16 organizations involved in milk production from the Adamawa, Center and the Far North regions were selected based on their business plans validated by regional committees.
2 new cases of 2 types of polio virus has been detected in Chinga neighborhood here in the nation's capital. The Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malache, has described the situation as an urgent public health concern. This comes after Cameroon has been enjoying the status of polio-free country. Victor Siga went to the Cité Verte hospital to see measures put in place. He brought back this report.
Since the announcement of a case of white polio virus in the Tinga neighborhood in Yaoundé, sanitary measures have been tightened up by medics. Though with no case at hand at the Cité Verte district center, staff are on the alert.
We are trying to reinforce the surveillance. There is no case of polio vaccine here at Cité Verte Hospital.
As a result, the personnel are taking strict measures to sensitize the population.
We have some of our colleagues who have to go straight the population inside the home to explain how are the manifestation of these diseases, how can it occur in some people, in somebody, and how to treat and to manage. But it's also an occasion for us to go back to the home and bring with us children who did not finish all the immunization vaccine. We have to see every day at every time if there is a patient who cannot walk, who have paralysis of inferior members.
The virus is of 3 serotypes, type 1, 2, and 3, each with a slightly different capsid protein, with symptoms, muscle weakness leading to an inability to move.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Two months into the second term of the ongoing school year, public health experts have been evaluating some anti-COVID-19 barrier measures put in place in school milieu to limit the spread of the pandemic. But just how effective have some of these measures been? Let's find out from Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Joseph Okam, standing by at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. Hi, Baldwin. What updates do you have for us this evening?
Actually, they were considered environments through which the coronavirus could easily spread the school milieu, be it the university milieu, secondary basic education sectors. So how effective have some of these anti-COVID-19 barrier measures been in some of these environments to limit the spread of COVID-19? Let's find out from our guest, Dr. Joseph Okam, who happens to be a virologist. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
How successful so far have been some of these anti-COVID-19 barrier measures in some of our schools to limit the spread of COVID-19?
Effectively, according to our national guideline against COVID-19, there are barrier measures implemented within the school milieu to make sure there shouldn't be a spread of COVID-19 during education. And one of those major barrier measures is, for example, having a focal point against COVID-19 in every school. Also making sure we should have a water tank with soap where students can wash their hands before going in for classes, and also making sure we should mitigate the physical distancing more or less around 0.5 to 1 meter, such that students shouldn't really be in contact as such. Then what is also specific is the use of face masks for every child who is 10 years and above, meaning that secondary schools and universities are really mandatory for the use of systematic face masks while they are attending classes, against primary school where this should be occasional depending on the age. Now, what we also realized during this period is some of these schools are not really respecting those measures in place, and with the resurgence of new cases within Cameroonian cities, we really want that this focal point should go back to their duty. We really want that principals in the various schools should really reactivate back their COVID-19 measures, such that our school should be safe from new cases of COVID-19.
And indeed, thank you so much, Doctor. Our schools will remain safe from COVID-19. Our responsibility as parents, we have to continue reminding our children of the necessity to continue respecting these different outlined barrier measures in the school milieu to limit the spread of the coronavirus. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Thank you, Baldwin Sama. I hope to be in your company again tomorrow. And on to this advertorial, La Regionale SA Microfinance Institution has exchanged with some heads of enterprises and business persons on the benefits of becoming shareholders in their institution. This was during a roadshow to discuss their introduction into the Central African Securities Stock Exchange, BVMEC. The meeting was attended by the Chief Executive Officer of La Regionale SA, Reverend Charles Roland Ombang Ekad. Madon Kwele tells us more.
The decision of La Regionale SA Microfinance to join the Central African Stock Exchange is to implement its values and concretize its idea.
We are going to the stock exchange to build a big bank, a strong bank, a millennium bank. That is first idea. Second one is to implement one of our value, which call innovation, because we are the first financial institution to go to the stock exchange to finance investment. As we are going to this market, we are going to sell shares.
With a share sold at 42,000 francs CFA, potential subscribers can purchase up to 196,000 shares in all. The Chief Executive Officer of La Regionale SA and collaborators took time during this roadshow in Douala to explain the benefits investors stand to gain in the long run.
When you come to buy shares, the first one is non-financial benefit. You must be proud to be shareholder in a strong bank. And second one is financial. If now you are shareholder in La Regionale, then you will have a part of the result, dividend. After buying these shares, you will have 50% additional shares. It is a wonderful occasion, one-time opportunity.
Since 1993, transparency has been the watchword of La Regionale SA that has 41 branches across the national territory with some 300 staff and 4 other branches in Gabon. A dedicated team that works hard to ensure the security of its over 100 shareholders by providing an up-to-date feedback. Business persons and heads of enterprises wishing to buy shares at La Regionale SA have till February 26 to do so online or inquire other information on the site www.laregionalebourse.com.
The Chamber of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock and Forestry of Cameroon has a new president. Minjo Momene Martin Paul was appointed this Wednesday, February 24, 2021, by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. Before his appointment, he served as the Director of Program Studies and Cooperation at the Ministry of Agriculture. And this other note, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, upon instructions from higher quarters, has authorized the Cameroon Football Federation, Fcfa, to get access into the different stadia for the definite start of the Professional Football Championship. In a letter signed today, February 24th, 2021, the minister requests that Fcfa officials get in touch with the Directorate of General Affairs at the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education for the effective implementation of the decision. It is signed Narcisse Mwele Kombi, Minister of Sports and Physical Education. Join Adele at 8:30 for the news in French. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. The technical crew join me in wishing you a pleasant evening. Good night.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Allô, monsieur, sur le service commercial Orange Money qui vous appelle.
Bandit,
Quand Orange appelle, c'est pas avec le numéro 6, c'est avec le 9200 ou 9 quelque chose. Ce que tu fais là, on appelle ça l'arnaque.
Restez vigilants. Orange vous contactera toujours par